We're live. Hello, everyone. Sorry, Amonde just asked me not to go live, but I pressed the button. So here we are. And now I'm too flustered to find out how to do the intro. But happy New Year, everyone, and we'll be with you in a second. Well, we've started 2024 as we finished 2023, an absolute shambles of a channel. But I'm delighted to wish you all a happy New Year. And I'm delighted to be joined by one of my favourite men at the moment, Mr. Amonde Juma. Happy New Year, sir. How are you?
Happy New Year, bath time. What do you mean at the moment?
Well, it's
we
like
made our vows. We made our vows. This is forever.
No, I rank people, Amonde. Like, okay. So you got you and Mr. B. You're fighting at the moment, apparently.
Yeah. Right. Just shall we stir it up a little bit more?
Yeah.
All right, guys. If you want me and Mr. B to start talking again and stop falling out, show some love. Show some love because we've formed a great relationship, but we've fallen out like brothers. And we're fighting in the background, me and Mr. B right now. According to, this is the allegation that I knew nothing about. So good observation. What it was, we haven't been on the channel together, me and Mr. B, through circumstances because of the holiday period. And someone accused us, I can't remember who it was, that we've fallen out and there's a big fight going on behind the scenes. So I'm telling you to your face, guys, I'm being honest, I'm looking in the eye. There is no issue. I love Mr. B equally as much as I love Errol, Rebel, Pat, and especially Bath Time with Vaughan, which I'm looking forward to today, guys. We're doing a great show on tactics. Hang around, guys. It's going to be really interesting, and it's going to be well relaxed as well. Big up, Andy Tate. I see you in there. Happy New Year to you. Andrew Williams, Big G.
Yeah, we'll get to the comments on Monday. Okay. You're front running everything.
Especially Mr. B.
Yes.
I love you.
So for anyone who didn't realise, on a Happy New Year's post, Bailey said that he thought he told us we've got to stop falling out with each other because Amonde and Mr. B hadn't been on the show together for 3 days, which I found very funny. Shout out Bailey. Right, Amonde, should we see who we got in the comments?
Yes, please.
First up, it's Solo. Happy New Year, Solo. Both players and the manager need to take responsibility for the team's performance over the first half of the season. I completely agree. Like, I don't know who else you could ask to take responsibility. Maybe the coaches, but there you are. And it's Zoe's Media House, and she's starting off 2024 as she left 2023, saying poor players, especially he whose name I will not say. Lol. And it's Big T. With the weakest captain in Premier League history, are we surprised? Oh, blimey. And it's Bar is a serious fan. So let's look at his serious comment. Good evening to everyone. United need to improve their offence and defence as well as their performance in turnovers. Oh, Bar, if they're to make playoffs in the post-season, avoiding ties is key too. Shouldn't you be watching Newcastle, like play your team or something? And it's Harley Marlin. Good day. I hope everyone is having a nice start to the new year. And we hope that you're having a nice start to the new year as well, Harley. Lovely to see you. And it's Matthew Bassett. How are you doing, Matthew? God, I can't imagine the New Year's Eve kebab you must have destroyed last night.
Good one.
And it's Andrew Williams. Happy New Year, all. Abject tactically, players not the best either. Subvids saying Happy New Year all. And we got Big G saying evening, fellas. And we got Mr. B laughing at you, Amonde. He just doesn't like you. And we got Andrew Tate. Good evening, gents. Do you want me on? You can come on if you want, Andy, but it's a tactical show. And I don't know how much you enjoy those. We've got We Deserve Better. Happy 2024, lads. Chat, fellow United sufferers. And then lots of confetti. UK Strains, Happy New Year. And Niall Kane, big up, lads. Happy New Year. Gents, send me a link. I think Mr. B's going to have to do that if he's still here.
I was going to say, I can't do it. I have to log out or something or try it. Mr. B, can you send the link, please?
Yeah, send the link. Happy New Year. Off topic, serious question. Are footballers trained to dive in professional fouls? So are the dark arts a skill that's coached and be proficient in? We're actually going to get onto that a little bit later. So yeah, like the answer is yes. And we've got Stephanie Griffiths, big up Bath Time, and Godzilla OMONDI. Now, OMONDI, I promised a Godzilla review for everyone. Did you watch Godzilla?
No, unfortunately not. I went to London, Covent Garden, and then I went to meet my missus, and we were going to go to the cinema. But by the time I got there, which is out of London, her small time cinema doesn't have Godzilla -1, which is the new Japanese version that I wanted to watch. So unfortunately, I didn't get to watch the movie. But I will say this: I think we at the moment are Manchester United -5. That's the new movie we should be watching. Man United -5, meaning -5 goal difference, which is really poor. And Happy New Year to our man Andy Tate. How you doing?
Happy New Year, gents. I'm okay, mate. It was a quiet night last night for me. Stayed in, and it was Manchester rain was at its finest.
Oh God! So no fireworks going off.
Well, I heard the fireworks, but I wasn't going to go and stand out in that. Even my missus didn't go out with me either, so we just stayed in. Just been out for an evening meal to celebrate New Year with her dad. Just come in now, just to chill. And I seen you guys were firing up the old Bat Cave at 9 o'clock, so I thought it's okay to tag along.
Of course,
Andy. You're always welcome, as long as you don't accuse me of Googling stuff again during quizzes, because I'm like Stephen Hawking. I'm just plugged in. That's the way I operate.
That sounds scary. That sounds like an X-File.
Well, the thing is, I suppose you can never really know if Stephen Hawking's been hacked or not, can you? Like, is it actually him doing the math, or has someone taken him over? Oh, on Monday, it's a joke, but you're being serious here. Come on.
Do you want to hear my theory on it?
Go on.
It's not controversial. It's not controversial. I think it's mockery at its highest, bringing Stephen Hawking's, rolling him out as this sort of a genius, who's on a speak and spell machine. I mean, it's just complete. When you really break it down, you think, they're really mocking us here with this one. Do you really believe, right? For one, I don't believe in his science, and I don't believe in him. He's just a puppet being rolled out. Ha ha! Let's laugh at the masses and put out this speak and spell 1970 speak and spell machine and make out that it's this guy doing it. When really it's just a fake. If you look at pictures of him when he was married, him changed. It's just a different character over and over again. So I don't believe in Stephen Hawking. I think it's utter mockery towards the public and the masses. So if you believe in him, I cannot help you.
Okay, all right. Let's quickly move on to Brendan. Is it Chapel or Chappelle? I never know.
There's two cricketing brothers from Australia called Greg and Ian Chappell. It's Chappell, and they are great legends. Yeah.
All right. Well, Brendan Chappelle is saying, are tactically poor and poo players the only options to explain the current poor performance? You're completely correct, Brendan. Mr. B did the thumbnail for this, and he didn't put what I asked him to. But yeah, okay. So I completely agree, Andrew. OMONDI is a complete lunatic. And shout out and Merry New Year to Pat Lawless, who we'll see on the channel quite soon. So right, so we're going to go and look at like what happened with the goals yesterday, but we're going to start off with a theory that I've had. It's not one of OMONDI's theories, but I think you can age someone based on what formation they used to play. So like Andy, when you were a young lad, do you remember what formations you played at like school and like Sunday league and stuff like that?
Yeah. You play with a 4-4-2, or you can play with a 4-3-3. And trouble is you stick to your positions, but sometimes when you're a kid, you like to go forward and stuff the rest. I'm going to score a goal. So, but yeah, you got to stick to your positions. Yeah.
What position did you play, Andy?
What you do, and you're fine. You should be fine.
Can I guess what position Andy played? Just judging by
centre back or a striker, isn't it?
Yeah, big lumping centre forwards who held up the ball and elbow defenders, or
Yeah.
the opposite, big old centre back who would just.
I was a centre back. Yeah, I was centre
yes.
back. Me.
Yeah, I thought so.
Big
You're
lanky
6'3", aren't you?
6'3".
You're 6'3", are you, Andy?
6'2".
6'2". Yeah, you're a lot bigger than I ever thought you were. Like, you must have looked enormous next to Mr. B.
Can I ask you something, Andy?
He looked like a little Yoda.
Oh God!
I don't like broccoli.
Mr. B just sent you the link, and you're disrespecting him.
No, Mr. B's a cool man. He's a brandy connoisseur, Mr. B. Telling you.
Yes, Andy. So playing centre back, I mean, surely there's a lot of receipts out there due your way. Have you retired from football? Because I'm sure people owe you for elbows and fouls and that kind of thing around your area. Are there a few receipts waiting?
I can't play football anymore. I want to, but I just haven't got. The closest thing I do, I practice kick-ups in the garden, concentrate the mind, try and clear the mind. And when you're frustrated, you smack the ball against the wall. I've been doing that a lot the last few weeks with Man United, just pretending it's one of the players' heads, you know what I mean? So I like to play football, but like you say, mate, you can't once your legs can't do it anymore, you can't do it. You can do slow football. Red cards. 5-a-side, slow football. There's a way forward.
You had a lot of red cards, Andy.
I've had a yellow card here and there, and I had to pay a fine in a 5-a-side because I told the referee what thought of him. So that was mad.
All right, OMONDI. Cast your mind back to the days of Drayton Manor and Middlesex and all this. Like, what sort of formations were you playing in, like in England, that and New Zealand?
Yeah, I agree with Andy. I mean, growing up from our generation, it's always 4-4-2, always. And it's like a specific sort of thing you'd have. 2 lines of 4, 2 wingers, maybe. Mind you, I mean, looking back at the sides of Man United in the 80s, there's usually 1 winger. Or we remember the midfield of Mike Phelan, Lee Sharp, Paul Ince, and another centre midfielder. Yeah, Neil Webb. There was only 1 winger in that formation, So 4-4-2 doesn't necessarily always mean 2 wingers. But I grew up on that sort of notion that you would play 2 wide men who can get down the ring, whipping crosses.
Yeah, sometimes a midfielder could become a winger for a few minutes, put in a cross, then revert back into the midfield.
Yeah.
So is it a diamond or something United were playing in the 80s?
Well, if you think about it, you've got Neil Webb, Paul Ince, Mike Phelan and Lee Sharp. That I'm just giving out one random midfield that I remember. And I'm thinking, how would they play? So I think it would be 3 and 1 was allowed to sort of raid,
Yeah, like say, Lee Sharp would drift, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
In late 80s. We had Russell Beardsmore as well.
That's right.
So like you say, they would stick to the midfield, but they would drift out. I mean, occasionally you might get a 4-4-2. And play with 2 wingers depending on the game. But yeah, the winger would drift out and drift in if it was Russell Beardsmore or Lee Sharp.
But the whole purpose, I thought, was always to hit the wide men would always get crosses in from wide, whip them in so the forwards could have an opportunity up against the centre backs. That's how it's always been. I mean, look at teams like Wimbledon and Coventry and the old strikers from the past. Sometimes they were big lumps, and then you'd have a little poacher, fox in the box with them, a little combination.
You nod it down and the poacher will get it.
Yeah,
like Quinn and Phillips.
Yeah, there's a good one. Keegan and Toshak. There was Alan Smith and Arsenal with Ian Wright or Merson.
Yeah, like Gary Mabbott. He was one who fed him at Spurs. Gary Mabbott was a poacher.
He was a centre back.
Oh, Gary Mabbott. I thought it was a striker.
Yeah, he had centre back.
Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking of Clive Allen. Sorry, Clive Allen.
Yeah.
Clive Allen was a striker but he used to play he fed off one of the Spurs players back in the day.
Did we ever have a big man and a little man up top?
Frank Stapleton was a big guy. You could class as someone who'd hold up the ball and then have someone sniffing around him. Another striker. Can't remember who Frank Stapleton played with actually. This is 83. I can't remember.
Stapleton played through that, and we had, like you say, we had Mark Hughes. Yeah, he held up the ball well. He could supply, but he could do it himself as well.
Did Hernandez ever play with Van Nistelrooy?
No,
No.
no.
Who did Hernandez like partner?
Well,
Or Rooney?
not really. I'll say this: when we came to Van Nistelrooy, it was at that stage when Carlos Queiroz decided to change the formation, so we didn't have two up front all the time. Because I think we can go into it, but if you're playing two wide men in midfield, that leaves two centre midfielders against an Italian Serie A team packed full of midfielders, you know, who would dominate the game, and we getting.
This is kind of where I'm going. Actually.
Oh right, okay, so yeah, so by playing two strikers, unless you're doing with that the ex-Burnley manager, when he gave that example of how to play a good 4-4-2, where you need a lot of rotation, I think you do leave yourself a bit isolated playing two strikers.
Yeah, I remember Van Nistelrooy used to play a long striker a few times in Europe, and it frustrated the hell out of me. We were getting nowhere.
Oh, we were so bored with Carlos Queiroz in Europe. Like, I mean, we were used to like really sort of attacking football, committing loads in attack. And when he came in, we were like the Wimbledon or Stoke or something when we played in Europe. Like we never committed. It was, you're right, Andy. It was just Van Nistelrooy, and it was like because we had to completely change like how we played. We should have dominated around the time of the treble.
Yeah, I remember the game against Basel. I think we won 3-1, but it was the most boringest game I've ever seen in Europe. We were so lackluster, and it just we won the game, but it wasn't entertaining to watch. And this is away from home in Europe. I mean, at the time, that was the way Carlos Queiroz was playing, you know, advising, and it didn't suit well with me.
Well, the big thing that changed was I think that the Roma team really impressed Ferguson because they didn't play with a centre forward and they were using a sort of more 4-3-3. And around 2006, 2007, like when we got Carrick in, he moved to that kind of was Carrick 2005? I can't remember, but he moved to that kind of
Carrick
system.
came in 06, 07, Carrick.
06, yeah.
He
was our only signing that year.
Hargreaves and Nani.
Okay.
What with who?
Anderson. Didn't Nani come with Anderson?
Well, that might be the following season, yeah. But yeah. Michael Carrick came in 06, 07.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, this all speaks a bit to my point, which is that I was quite lucky because, in England, when our future director of football was turning me down and things, everyone was playing a 4-2-3-1. Like it was literally the only thing that anyone ever played. And when I went out to Latin America, it was 4-3-3, right? And it was this completely different style of football. And what kind of happens, right, is it's a bit like sort of like evolution or something, where in the leagues that me and OMONDI used to play in, you get guys who come up with the craziest ideas and the craziest formations. And over the years, these things like fight their way to the top of football, and you sort of take the best ideas of one and combine it with the other. So what we're seeing at the moment is like 70% the Latin American style of Bielsa and La Volpe and Leo, who's at City now, with a little bit of the German game, particular the sort of pressing that came from Serie A. And the point, and the whole reason that I brought up like how we play in these formations is that we kind of have to sort of like divorce ourselves from what we know when we grow up, because the 4-4-2 and 3-5-2, no one's using them anymore because they're inefficient systems and they're quite easy to shut down. So I'm going to talk in a minute about some basics of football that, well, they're not basics, they're fundamentals now, but they might not be fundamentals to people that were playing 20 years ago, or, you know, like have only played dog and duck football or five-a-side since school. And any of you can challenge me on these, but these are the things that I was coached in, and they're really important to understand what went wrong against Forest. Because, and actually, just before we get into it, you must have some thoughts on the Forest game and what went wrong, and I'd love you to share them with us.
I thought United were basically toothless first half, nothing going forward. Defensively, okay, had nothing to do, but so were Nottingham Forest. They set up to probe each other, and they never did. I thought the team selection was wrong. as well. Say Anthony, I'm just. You know what? Maybe he's injured, I think, now, and maybe I've seen more from 2 10-second clips in the week and how to cross a ball in training. And I said this to Joe on the podcast on Saturday on the live stream. I see, and he says, "Don't you think Ahmed it might be pressure? You know, he might not come on for the second half." I see more in 10 seconds of him crossing a ball to convince me he was made for that second half. Then I seen nothing of Anthony on Saturday. He was just like a cat playing with a ball, you know, like a piece of string. Whoa, left, right. What do we do? Cross the ball. It's such, you know what? There's no end product. I mean, even if you cross the ball, nothing happens. At least you've crossed the ball.
Yeah.
So it's just crossing the ball. It's simple football. It's not going to the byline, doing your little Brazilian cameo, doing your little dribbles, and going, what do we do now? Oh, I best pass it back to the low. Pass it back to Bruno Fernandes. They pass it back to me. Oh, I'll do my little shummy and Strictly Come Dancing again and pass it back. Just cross the ball, man. That's all it is.
Yeah,
I say all 3 of them goals were gifts, absolute gifts. I mean, the first one, we were caught between defending, say, Rafael Varane played him on side and he had the free shot on goal. The second one, McTominay was drawn to the low. He clocked him out the back of his eye. He saw Gibbs and he was coming in and he let him score. Just like the goals at Basel in the Copenhagen in the Champions League. You see your player, the low seen him. Didn't clock him. 3 seconds later, he's scoring, and it's the same sort of goals week in, week out. We've seen them goals being conceded. The players got in freedom to shoot and score, and our goal was a gift. And that's fair enough. And it was a good finish for Marcus Rashford. But United should have took stock and they held and just kind of bombing forward. And we had a shot, he saved it. And they went up the other end and scored. You know, when you equalise, like you take stock for 5 minutes, like you calm it down.
Mm-hmm.
But then you start pressing again. Because it was like 10 minutes injury time. There's still plenty enough time. Not just go forward. You take stock. The worst thing you can do when you score is let them come onto you straight away. And that's what Forest did. Because they were scared. And we're like, we should have sat back for a few minutes and assessed and right. I was quite happy to hold out for 5 minutes, then press. But no, United press, which is fine. But if you're not scoring, it leaves you vulnerable on the counter attack. Because as soon as he saved that and it's got it the other way, we were screwed. And McTominay saw the player, didn't track back. And it's on him. And it was a tactical. To take off Kobe was an absolute scandalous decision. And that's why I'm questioning Ten Hag on that. And he says I took it off his tactics. Then he says, "Oh God, I did it because he's played 3 games in a week." Well, it's either one or the other, boss. So what you going to say? What you going to do?
Andy. All right, you're completely front running everything in the show, which is good. But we do need to look at some comments, and then we need to get into some stuff. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, Andy. But we've got UK Strains, and he's saying, "Don't get Andy started on Anthony." And we got Yale saying United got 1 chance in the first half. I've never seen a more toothless half from United ever. And if I'm correct, that chance was Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah. It was charged down. Yeah.
Yeah, he really poor touch and stuff like that. Whip it in. Listen to Andy. And then look, it's JR saying, "Good evening, guys." Zoe is saying Anthony's an OAP in disguise. That's why he's so slow, lol. Big G is saying too slow in play, especially the transitions. They were trying to walk through play. Wingers one-dimensional. As fullbacks, no. Wingers 95% of the time cut inside. And Bart is saying, I've noticed that Eric does like a left footer on the right, as evidenced by his use of Neres, Anthony, Tadic, Ajax. Surely you could have had someone else other than Anthony. Well, we had Ahmed, innit? There's no diversity or fluidity in tactics, as I say, one-dimensional. Anthony must be close to taking a record. 0 assists, 0 goals in 16 games as a winger this season. God, that's horrible reading, isn't it? Among the left-footed, right? Okay, Bart. Like, I appreciate you're giving us like names and things, but it's not a transfer show. On Thursday, Rebels doing takeovers and transfers, so you can vomit all this at him. And JR, bath time. Who is in charge of on-game management on the pitch? As a keeper, I'd quite often dig out the midfield. Anana is the same as David De Gea. He can't scream or he can't speak or shout. Scream or shout is Britney Spears and Will I Am. Absolute banger of a song. Yeah, do you like that one, Andy?
Yeah, that's a good one. That mate, good one.
It's really good, isn't it? All right. So, in terms of the breakdown of the goals and things, we're going to go through some basic laws of some basic fundamentals of defending, and then we'll put Andy's sort of like Andy is saying that McTominay is at fault for the first goal and Varane. No, McTominay second, Varane first.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I've animated all of the goals, so you're going to see all the people moving around the pitch and stuff. But before we get into that, we have to just do some basics of the football that Ten Hag is doing. So for any coaches or anyone that's sort of interested in football, we're going to talk about defending, basically. So the first thing you have is +1 defending. This means that in your zone, and a zone can be like a left back, the left central midfielder, and the left-sided centre back. Right, so it's not necessarily a back four or your middle four or your front two. It's like a zone is a part of the pitch. So if you have +1 in the zone, pressure can be applied, especially with straight or sideways passes. So if it's a 4 versus 3 and the ball goes sideways, it's very common for the fullback to do something called jumping, which is where he breaks from his defensive line to go and apply pressure. Okay, like Amondo, any disagreements with this?
So +1 defenders means when you've got a numerical advantage as defenders. There'd be like 4 defenders and 3 attackers or something like that.
Yeah. So if you've got a numerical advantage, you can go and sort of, it's not quite pressing, but we'll call it pressing. Okay, right. Where you can go and apply pressure on the ball.
Yeah.
However, when you do this, like the player that jumps, it has to be communicated to the rest of the people in that area. That can either be from a trigger. So there are 2 very common pressing triggers in the Premier League. One is a straight pass backwards, and the other one is a straight pass sideways. Like you'll often see teams go into a super press when a centre back passes to another centre back, because it means you can sort of hem them in. You can like contain them in that area. So with the coaching and all the stuff that goes on in training, that's one form of communication. Or a player says go, or we say pop in my team, pop, and then everyone goes in. And the reason you communicate is because when the player jumps, the other people have to pick up different men. Like you pass your man on when you jump. All right, is everyone pretty happy with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no one's got any issues with how you defend with +1 advantage.
No, of course not. No, you keep the advantage. Of course, it's right.
Yeah. Okay. Now, even defending, this is when numbers are equal. Okay. Basically, it's the opposite. You can't engage. You have to give up the space and delay the attack.
Yeah.
All right. If you think back to this is something that drives me mad about Bruno. Bruno will regularly run at a goalkeeper like he's I watched Lord of the Rings the other day, like he's one of the Uruk-hai trying to blow up Helm's Deep. He'll break his line and he'll just run. He'll run straight in a line. And what that means is that you're at a disadvantage. So when you have an even amount of players, you have to give up space and you have to delay the attack. And delaying the attack is done two ways. You either force the ball out wide, or if you're very good, you do a tactical foul. Right. So when Man City, for example, are at a disadvantage, was it Fernandinho, their old central midfielder?
Yeah.
Like all he used to do was bring someone down. Rodri does it. They all do it, and they only do it when it's even, because they're trying to delay. So if anyone out there is a sort of midfielder, when you're defending an attack, there are two things you do. One is you scan when the ball is passed, right? When someone passes the ball, that's when you look around to see how many people there are. And if you don't have enough numbers, you have to give up ground, because giving up ground is much better than getting a man out of the game. This is why I always go mental about Casemiro sliding, because he commits himself and he's out of the game, and it's emergency defending. All right. Everyone pretty happy with that?
Yep.
All right. We don't need diagrams. We don't need pictures.
No, it makes sense.
Okay. 2v1 attacking. This is all building to something, boys. 2v1 attacking is when you are attacking and there's only one person there. It's very, very simple, right? You commit the defender as quickly as you can. Like, if there's anyone out there who's slow like me, the best thing you can do is force a player onto one side as early as possible, right? And they're committed to the duel with you. They can't go anywhere else. They're engaging you. It's like Street Fighter. They can't run off to do anything else. We're in a fight. And then the other player, he's got to overlap or underlap aggressively, right? So he almost makes the decision of where the pass is going. And then when the defender is committed and his body is positioned in a certain way, you can all picture it now. You then release the ball, but the ball's got to be basically in front of the guy who's receiving it, so he's running into space. All right, just a real basic 2v1 attacking, yeah.
Yep.
Hello?
Very good. Yeah, we get it. Yeah.
All right,
Brilliant.
anything to add, OMONDI? Like when you're dealing with a 2v1, like how do you approach it?
I just try and hold people up and wait for other people to come. What I want to do is cut the angle. It's hard thing to do. You want to cut the angle of the pass and try to invite the guy, force him out wide away from the goal. So, or if you think you've got good enough pace. So if I see there's two against one, one's carrying the ball, I'll try and cut out the angle of the pass which he wants to make and invite him to go one-on-one with me, and that way, if he does, I've stopped him from passing because I've already committed. I'm already looking at the guy with the ball majority of the time. So just trying
containment. It's about containment. That's what it is.
Yeah, and wait
when the defender's coming at you when the attacker's coming at you with your ball, you committed to him. But if you've got half a second, you can look and see where the second attacker is.
Yeah.
And if you neutralize him, who's coming at you, he can't make the pass to the other attacker.
Yeah, you basically, like in any duel in football, you want to be the one making the first move. Like you want to be like white in chess. You go first.
Yeah, you can't commit to two attackers, but you can, like say, you focus on one, but you can analyze at the same time the other to stop him.
This is something that Van Dijk is actually really, really good at. Like he always he takes the decision making out. Sorry,
I think when you can trust your pace in that situation. If you block, first of all, it's 2-on-1. I've seen in many situations, Van Dijk, he trusts his pace to say, "All right, you run at me. I'm going to dictate to you what you're supposed to do. I'm going to cut out the pass. Now you got to go at me. And if he goes and touches it, then boom, he's ready for it. And he's got the pace and the physicality to get in there. And
I think it was in the Champions League match, Garnacho. He was man-marked by that Bayern Munich lad. And absolutely brilliant.
Upamecano.
Yeah. Upamecano, absolutely brilliant defending. He marked him, took him out. He never got a crossing. And it was a defender's man in a match performance in that game.
Yeah, he did that to Rashford in the away leg as well. Like Upamecano is incredible at defending wide areas. You can't get past him. He's too strong. He's too fast. He's exactly the sort of defender that Manchester United should be looking at.
Yeah,
because
you might get that one time you get past him, and when you do, you've got to make it count. But 99 times out of 10, you do not get past him at all.
All right. Have we got any comments just before I move on the next one? Because I don't want this to be a homily on attacking. So we've got Hydro. Even all, hope you had a good New Year. He passed out at 11. That sounds like a good New Year. And we got UK Strains saying bath time goes deep on these tactics. I do, UK Strains, because I used to train this all the time. Like when I turned up in like Chile, I thought I knew bloody everything about football, and I was only 19, but I knew it all. And within about, I'd say, an hour of training, I knew nothing. So I had to do all of this like over the years, and I'm sharing it with you now. Don't talk triangulation bath time. Amonde might think it's Star Trek speak.
Behave yourself, Stephanie.
Yes, Stephanie.
I'll transport you to the bridge.
Andrew Williams, he likes playing black in chess, so he can play the Sicilian defense. JR saying Costa Corta was the best I ever saw at that in terms of wide defending. Amonde, is he a standout? I can't remember him.
No, Costa Corta wasn't the quickest, but obviously he could read the game well. Even when he was young, he wasn't the quickest, but he was in the defense, which is with Baresi and all these guys. And obviously, under they used to have that sprinting offside traps where they compressed the play. So I think it was more a team effort. You could fit into that team really well if you're half decent. Costa Corta was good on the ball, but not athletic, like we're talking about the guy from Bayern Munich, not in that sort of respect.
Yeah, like, can you think of any outstanding like wide defenders?
Well, Varane for us does it pretty well. He's the best, I think. It's about shepherding people away, having the pace to get over there and dictating where you want them to go. Just Des Walker, clearly, he has the pace to do that. In the past, he was fantastic.
Gary Pallister could do it as well back in his heyday.
Yeah, he was the
Gary
quickest.
Pallister could do it. Even Jaap Stam, his short time at the club, he could do it.
Isn't that, and you ask yourself the question, should it be, we're talking about players that have pace to do that. Yeah, that's great. But as you get older, you need to be able to read the game. So I would say John Terry is not the quickest defender, but I hardly ever saw him get done in wide areas because he was reading the game, the communication. And when you said earlier about something key at half time about when defenders are +1 and who makes the call. When you got players like John Terry, who I think is one of the best centre-backs I've seen in the Premiership ever, who's not the quickest, but he would lead the line. So he would make those calls and he would be in charge of everything and take that responsibility. And if he was left in one-on-one situations, you go and look it up, I've rarely seen him get done. He's able to get out there and shepherd people out of play without being the quickest.
Yeah, I think I never saw him play, but my dad always tells me Paul McGrath was one of the best defenders that he ever saw. And I also remember a guy at Tottenham called Ledley King who always impressed me whenever I watched him play.
Another one.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, that's good shout. Good
shout. Yeah, like, I'd love us to
very
get
injury prone on one. Very injury.
Well, both of them. I'd love to get us the players in. And
He couldn't train very much because he would get injured, so he could only play 1-2 games in a month, then rest.
Yeah,
he'd be on the bike while everyone was training indoors.
He couldn't train. He just had to take it easy and play on the day.
By the way, I just want to say, great genetics, Paul McGrath. I've seen his son. His son is an absolute beast of a man. Anyway.
Do you know, like, Kobe Mainoo's brother was in Love Island, Amonde?
I watched Love Island. Which one was he?
Jordan.
I'm going to check this.
About Google 5 or 6 years ago. Like, he's a good-looking man as well. But anyway, the last one before we get to see the animations is defending the channel, right? So the channel is the space between the fullback and the centre-back, and it is the most important part of all attack and play in the Premier League at the moment. Like, everything is about trying to make that space as big as possible and playing the ball through it. So if you think of like any cutback goals or anything like that, they're always trying to make the channel as large as possible. So when you're defending the channel, your strong-sided midfielder, and that means the midfielder that is nearest the ball, he has to cover the space between your fullback and your centre-back. When that space is covered, the fullback can go out and engage in a duel, right? He can't really go and do it before that space is covered, or you're going to get killed. It's just, you'll see it every week in the Premier League. And then your wide midfielder normally doubles up with the fullback, and the other midfielder, who's not protecting the channel, moves to zone 14 or will move to the penalty spot, but essentially he's going to cover the centre. So this is just the basics of defending the channel. One midfielder goes in between the centre-back and the full-back engages with the winger, and the other midfielder, his job is to protect the centre. I assume that's all pretty basic stuff and understandable.
I love how you're leading on to the Nottingham Forest game, especially with this one.
Yeah, I can see something in my head forming after that.
Yeah.
What you just said. Yeah. I'm not going to say it, but I can picture it in my head. Yeah.
You don't have to picture it, Andy. I've animated it. We're going to go and see it.
It's in my head now. I can picture the attack and the goal.
All right, yes, but so all of this is leading up with how we deal with like sort of transitions, and these are the basics of how you should defend. Like the tactical part of it is if someone goes somewhere else or someone does something different or whatever. But these are the basics of like defending.
This is really good. It's very clear as well, and I'm looking forward to the based on this especially. I'm looking forward to the animation you have. Where we can see these four laws are applied.
All right, let's do the comments first, and then we'll do the animations. All right, because I just don't want. If anyone doesn't understand anything that's said here, like, don't think you're being silly for saying I don't understand. You can ask. Like, but Jeff is saying we have huge channels, and we do, and it's Ed Mayhem. Evening, guys. Happy New Year. Hello, Ed. I hope you had a great New Year. Andrew is complaining that it's like watching Blade Runner, but even though that's one of his films that he loves, we've got a guy I haven't seen before, George Nicolaou. Both George can be true. Sorry,
we have seen George the Greek before.
I haven't, but I'm glad that you know him well enough to call him that. But anyway,
can't pronounce his surname.
Yeah, it's just George N. Georgian. All right. Let's show the animations. So, Amonde, tell me when this is all working.
We're up.
We're up. Okay. So this is the first goal. Just one thing to explain before we go in. Rashford isn't on the pitch at the moment. He got hit in a collision with Turner and was forced off. So United have conceded a huge amount of ground because we're one man down. Okay? Amonde, would you like to talk us through this?
So where's the... All right, there's the ball. Okay, we're
sat back. Here.
Yeah, okay, we're sat back in a half. It's played to the centre-back. He's engaged by Ericsson. It's played out wide to Elanga. One touch back to the centre-back. Looking here, squares it for the Yates. He turns back and plays a ball down the channel to Elanga. Elanga's got it up wide. He gets engaged by Delon. No one picks out the square ball here for Dominguez. Everyone's out of position, and it's first time finish. Very simple. Very simple goal here.
Andy, what are you seeing here?
I'm seeing the same what Armando is. Like you say, Elanga's getting this space. Everyone's drawn to him. Evans is getting drawn, and Dominguez is there just to put the goal in, and Scotty McTominay was also committed to looking forward at the oncoming attacker. And like you say, Dominguez had this free strike.
All right, so let's go through this a little bit. First of all, right, we're in a decent shape, right? We've got a pretty stable back four. The space in this is the channel here. The space in the channel is perfectly manageable on both sides. We've got Varane and Evans looking after Wood, and we've got McTominay in front of them. The only issue we have is because Rashford's coming on, there's no pressure on the ball, so we've got to drop backwards. As it gets out here, in this part of the pitch, we've essentially got a 3v3. basically. So what we're looking for here is no one to commit, right? They've just got to hold positions and be fine. There's no pass in here or in here. So what we're really looking to see is we've got to get Rashford back onto this number 6, onto Yates, to apply pressure. All right. It goes out to Elanga, goes to Yates. This is the first problem. Rashford needs to be here to stop this pass here. The reason is that there's an overload that's forming over here. Rashford's not working hard enough, and so Eriksen has to come forward. So ideally, Eriksen would be here, but he's covering for Rashford, and then Alejandro Garnacho has been absolutely sold here by Yates's body position. He thinks that, and this is just an experience, he thinks Yates is going to try and pop it through to this guy here. And so he commits to it because it's a 3-D2, so he's allowed to. But that gap is too much, and the ball comes out here. And the other thing is, Montiel has been a naughty bastard and has swapped places with Elanga and is now messing about in the channel, which is exactly where we don't want him to be. So the ball comes through here. Dalot cannot engage, right?
Why? Just go through the pointers again. You cannot engage. Why? Because it's evens, or
yeah,
because he's watching Montreal behind him.
He has to wait for Scott or Bruno to get into this space here, and because I don't know if you remember, but Garnacho, he took himself out of the game by sliding, right? So what you would normally see is you'd see Alejandro doubling up here and blocking this pass inside, right? Because this is open, and I think McTominay was told to man mark Gibbs White. McTominay can't leave this position here, right? Because you have to defend the centre. So what you're ideally looking for is Bruno Fernandes has got to get into the channel here. And then you'd expect Ahmed to come here and these 3 players to break themselves to get back. But this spells a lot of danger. So this is like, there's been 2 mistakes so far. One is Rashford not putting enough pressure on the ball. And the other is Alejandro Garnacho overcommitting and allowing a line-breaking pass. But this is still defendable, right? This isn't like the worst setup that you'll ever see. But the next problem that happens is Dalot goes without telling anyone, basically, and he leaves that gap there. And you can already see the problems that we have, where there's 2 players here in between the lines, right? And this guy here, Wood, is very, very annoying because he's got on Varane's blind side. So he is pulling Varane out of the space, and Varane is concerned about him. Okay, like it's basic, but it's pretty good striker play. He's helping to create this hole here. So Dalot has gone too early, and because Alejandro Garnacho is not here, and because McTominay isn't here, he's not allowed to do this. This is really, really bad defending. So he goes out, Montreal drops, the ball is played through. Evans is going to get attracted to the man. And here, Bruno has got to be here.
Yeah.
Bruno's absolutely got to be here. Now, I completely understand, because McTominay is the strong-sided midfielder, normally you would expect him to move into this space here and for him to pass Gibbs White off to Eriksen and for Bruno to come in. But because Garnacho has taken himself out of the game and because Dalot has taken himself out of the game, McTominay's job is to protect this pass inside, right? And he hasn't got a call from Dalot or Evans, or he hasn't listened to it. So if you hate McTominay, you can say he's not listened to the call. If you like McTominay, you can say he just doesn't react. But Evans, he gets committed. Dominguez is too far ahead. Bruno is in an awful position. He should be here. That's exactly where he should be, but he isn't. The ball gets played through. And also, check out Wood's position. He's pinned 2 players and created this massive gap here. And then the ball gets played through, and it's scored. So
I just want to say,
why are you clapping?
I just want to say, look, I didn't hardly saw the game. I've just seen the goals and everything else, but this breakdown is brilliant. When you see the subtle movements, and you have to applaud it, and how the goal developed, because we are in a good position. You start the thing from the beginning, we look like we can manage this, but yeah, just subtle things like that is really difficult, isn't it? To sort of if you're not in tune with one another, you can get exposed quite badly. But yeah, brilliant breakdown.
Yeah, I mean, so this is. I might have the names of some of the Forest players wrong, by the way.
So just quickly, because the guy who scored eventually, is he a left winger?
It's Dominguez.
Yeah, I don't know. So did he come? He's come inside.
Yeah. So well, like, look, this is what they're is what they're doing. This is brilliant, right? They're occupying a wide area. They're occupying the interior. They're occupying the central area. They're occupying wide, and they've got. If this guy moves here, they've got a rest defense.
Yeah.
Right, and I think this guy actually does move in there, but they've got all of the attacking zones occupied, and that means that they're going to stretch us. And do you remember in the preview, OMONDI, I said that Eriksen and Bruno always worry me because Bruno gets too far ahead and Eriksen supports him, and it leaves huge gaps in between the lines.
Yes.
Eriksen here is covering for Rashford, which is fine. Like you have to cover for your teammates. But when the ball goes out here, Bruno's got to drop. Right? He has to drop because you have to give up space when you don't have enough men in your zone.
I mean, the rules are like McTominay was the nearest, strongest midfielder.
He's strong side.
Ideally, he should have dropped, but because of the circumstances, he couldn't. He was attracted. So Bruno should have had the awareness to maybe say, "All right, I need to fill in here because there's people in between playing in between the lines."
Because it's this here. It's when Garnacho takes himself out of the game, right? Because big up to Yates, he was brilliant, and he's played a pass that's taken 3 men out. It's completely cut our line, but Garnacho can't recover. So here, the danger is that pass there, and ideally, what you want is if Delo holds his position, Alanga's going to try and take him on the outside, and that's just not that bad.
Yeah, can we talk about that? I mean, so the ball goes to Alanga, Delo's not near him, and the rules are you don't really go out there, and you don't like lose your shape. But Delo decided to go out there blindly. Do you reckon? You've done the analysis, you've sort of seen the positions and everything at this point. He's right to go out there because you don't want to give him, like you said, to give him space. But what made him go without looking around him or knowing, what he was leaving behind?
I don't know, OMONDI, because there are reasons you can go out if a player takes a bad touch or something like that. But I think Delo, you got to remember, he's not a left back; he's a right back. Yeah. But it's still the same principles. I think Delo, he's not aware of what's going on around him in this case, and he thinks he's got to close the man down because United will have been really worried about Rashford off because Rashford's job, like as a number 9, is to stop play going through the pivot. Rashford isn't there. Like they had a goal kick, and we haven't been able to contest until Rashford's got on the pitch. So I think Delo is probably being aggressive and he's trying to get the situation under control. But because of Dominguez's position and Wood's position, because they basically, like, Johnny Evans will be absolutely furious about this situation here because you don't want to be 2-on-2. You want to be 3-on-2, 2-on-1. Like McTominay, I think, is been told to man mark Gibbs White. That's what he did for the majority of the game. Like, if you remember when Gibbs White should have been sent off, it started in this area here with
Yeah, the
McTominay.
double tackle. I was
Yeah.
at booking. I'll never know.
Yeah,
I never looked at it.
No idea. And
If that was a United player, it'd be absolute uproar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I completely agree.
I think if Elanga, the thing is, I'm not blaming Delo, but because if you give a Premiership player that sort of time and space, they can do danger from there. There's a lot of danger. You're giving someone that time and space. You shouldn't have that time and space in there. So he's had to react. And this goal, I mean, as bad as it is, and we are being critical, we're down to 10 men virtually. And this is why we've been sort of moved out of shape and opened up quite easily.
It's this guy here who's brought us. It's these two that have brought us down to 10 men, basically. Rashford doesn't work hard enough, and the issue might be that he's still got a bit of a knock and he's not moving fluidly or whatever. But like, if I take it back right to the start here and play it. As Rashford comes on and that ball gets played back, this is seriously dangerous. This here, with that passing network, right? A decent team will absolutely kill you from this position because there's not enough pressure on the ball from Rashford and Eriksen. So the first error is Rashford not getting to Yates quickly enough. The second one is Garnacho just being a puppy. He gets absolutely done here. And then Delo goes out, doesn't tell anyone. And there's too much of a gap there. Like, this is so bad to have two players in between the lines like that. And I don't know. I genuinely don't really know whose fault all of this is. I think it's miscommunication, to be honest. But the players that stand out to me as making the biggest errors are Delo, Bruno, and Alejandro Garnacho. But that is just my opinion. So I'll play it one more time, and then we'll do some comments. Yeah. Like, who are you blaming, Andy? Who stands out here?
Well, like you say, I'm blaming Delo on this, and like you say, Scott McTominay and Varane. I mean, them three core players. They were at the centre of it. Like you say, Scott should have been tracking. Varane was in two minds. He played Wood on side as well. So yeah. But I did look from that side. Like you say, I didn't Garnacho and Rashford. I didn't see them being involved in any mistakes. But yeah, as you break it down as it is now, yeah, it was like 4 or 5 players. Mistakes led to that goal. That tracking back, looking.
Dominoes,
yeah. 1 goes down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah.
All right, Amonde, have you got comments for me to react to? Or, I mean, is there anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I love, obviously, I love all this, to see it in detail. I don't think you get this anywhere else where you can sort of really break it down. And that sort of movement that you see, like, from a bird's eye view, and the little subtle movements. I was just watching it again. Every time I watch, I'm seeing something different. So fair play to Nottingham Forest, their fullback going into that sort of area in between the channel. McTominay did go with Morgan Gibbs White deep, and as the play developed, Morgan came out of that space, and the fullback came in and occupied that space in between channels. So it's very hard to sort of, we can blame people and say, you should have done A, B, and C, but the communication has to be on point as defensive unit. I'm just judging by that. I think I have to blame Bruno. As you say, outnumbered. Eriksen had to put the pressure on, so he was sort of out of the game. Garnacho was out of the game, tried to put pressure on. Delo tried to put the pressure on, because you're thinking 10 men, we've got to get close to them, whatever. But it's a very simple goal. It's not like an outstanding goal or with sort of Garnacho overhead kick or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't like to get beaten like that. I think we've been really good this year. I'm not going to cuss our team. I think we've been really good with getting goals in open play. We kind of restricted them in the last few weeks. Bayern Munich, Liverpool. We kind of been defensively on point. So to see a goal like this be conceded, it's a bit disappointing. To be fair,
there was a goal like that in the Champions League match, similar against Bayern Munich at Munich. It was just same sort of goal. So, like I say, it's clear that they don't learn from the mistakes, and it's happening. It's happened a few times this season as well, and it's just like they never learn. They pick it up one game, then they drop it again. It's just there. We're easy to play against sometimes.
Yeah, the other thing I would like to point out is that their fullback Montreal, who World Cup winner and all that, his role in the goal of occupying that space in between the lines, that's head and shoulders above anything we've seen from Wan-Bissaka, Dalot, Shaw, Malacia. That's the kind of stuff that we really need our players to do, because it's a rotation. He rotates with Alanga.
Morgan.
Yeah, and when we do this, we're so static. The big problem with United is that no one seems to know, or no one seems to take responsibility for what they're doing. And you have to look around and see when the ball is passed, that's when you look, right? That's when you look around at what everything is, because the ball can't hurt you whilst it's being passed. But no one reacts. And in the clip, in the second goal, I urge all of you to go and watch it again and look at Bruno and Garnacho, because I genuinely think someone should smack them up for what they did. It's disgraceful. But anyway,
have you got that?
No, it's just go and look it up on the.
All right, I will. Yeah, because I didn't watch the game live, so yeah. Just by the way, did Ahmad play? I saw you had a graphic.
He did.
Ahmad.
He came on.
Yeah, Ahmed. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. As it led up to that goal, Ahmed was passing it and bombing it forward. Eriksen had the shot. It was saved. Ahmed got the ball, put it into the channel. It was well defended and well read, and they broke after that cross from Ahmed.
Right.
So, I'm so pleased you said that, Andy, because I wondered, should I animate the Eriksen and Diallo stuff, and I did. So we'll see all of that after I've done the comments. But thanks, mate. I wondered if I should put that in or not, but I did. But anyway, DK Wilson, straight out of Ohio, saying this is awesome, bath time. Appreciate your tactics work so much. My pleasure. Hydro is saying it's like FM 2024. Love it. Zoe is saying, thought this was bath time's role play, lol. Okay, it's tactics. Look, Zoe, I will be role playing on Friday night, which is why I won't be on the agenda, because it's time for Dungeons and Dragons. I can't wait. Jeff is saying all McTominay's fault. Centre midfield not back. Okay. Bruno for me. Scotty, look where he's going. He's out picking berries. Bruno's fault all day long. Definitely Bruno's fault. So there's a mix. There's a mix. Bruno, McTominay, arm waving and trotting respectively. Scotty should have been on their number 9. He was the CDM. Okay. Sorry, Charlie. He shouldn't. He should be. If he's doing anything, he should be protecting the channel. United's communication is poor, plus no one ever fouls. Bruno's the captain. He should know better and lead by example. I think what he's building up to is that we are shit. I don't think there's no need to build up for that, is there?
Hang around.
Yeah, you don't need a PhD to see that, mate. Work at Harvard. You know what I mean? Being Harvard, you don't.
Well, you don't need to be Stephen Hawking's.
No, you just need braille settings to be able to see how poor we are. Don't know if you need eyes.
You could be a Super Mario, and you could be a 7-year-old, and you could see this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A 7-year-old kid playing Super Mario could work this out better than the United players.
But granted, I mean, just watching it fast in open play, it would be too hard for me to sort of slow things down and realize what's going on. That's why I love these tactics board that you draw out. It just highlights it even more, which is good and bad. It's good to think, okay, that's the reason, but it's bad to think, damn you guys, you know.
Well, hopefully when you see you watch the next game or something, you'll see who's defending the channel, if players are committing when there's a +1. Like, when I was doing all this training, I was a bit like the United players, where most of the time I was thinking, what should I be doing? And it took about 6 months before it becomes like almost subconscious what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a
but
bit
these
weird,
bastards have had a year and a half.
Yeah, it's a bit weird when you're at the stadium. You can't sort of see it when you're like in the low seating. But if you're a bit higher up,
Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit higher up, you can actually I've been in Stretford End.
Are you pitch level?
Yeah, at pitch level, you can't see it. But if you're a little bit higher at the back of the stand, or if you're in the second tier, you can see it. You can work it out and who's not picking up. And
I'm blind drunk when I'm in a stadium, so I never see anything. I go for the singing and the shouting.
If you're drunk, you won't be getting into a stadium, mate. You'll be in the
I'm good at impressions, Andy. I don't know. Walking. Good evening, sir. How are you? I'm here to see the tricky Reds. So Steph said Bruno's got no defensive discipline, which is something we should maybe think about. Bruno is like 8 stone wet, so he hasn't got the strength to defend. What's 8 stone in kilograms? I don't do imperial measures. Is that like 50?
No, more than that. Actually, I'm not sure. Actually, I don't know.
All right. Spot on analysis, Darius. God, I can't believe you're still here, Andrew. You hate tactics. Steph, we have enough players back, but in the wrong positions. Yes, Steph, and that is something we're going to talk about in the next clip. If your players are not where they should be, doing that week in, week out, do you blame the coaching? For me, I do. Andy?
Yes, but I blame it on 50-50. If them players can see it for themselves, yes, I blame the coaching for not implementing it into him, but I also blame the players for not seeing the possibility of the dangers when they're looking at the corner of their eye. Oh, Gibbs is coming over. I will commit and help the low. And he's running behind me and he scores. And you go, oh, God. He'll say, the management can't help you on the pitch. He said, so for me, it's 50-50.
I mean, the reason why I'm blaming the coaches more in this instance is that I'm fairly sure that the direction to McTominay was to man mark Gibbs White. And because of that, McTominay is our best channel defender in that team. There's no doubt about it. Like, he's better than he'll do it much better than Kobe, Bruno, Eriksen, all of them. They can all do much better things than he can. But in terms of defending the channel, this is one of the reasons why McTominay plays so often, because he's extremely good at it. But so when you take your best channel defender out of the game and you ask Bruno to do it, and you've got Delo like just bursting off, I sort of think that the coaches in this position have put the players in they've put them in areas where they're not at their best. But I also agree with Andy is that players solve problems on the pitch. Ten Hag isn't coming out and whispering in your ear, go here, go there, like Ratatouille or whatever it is. Like, none of that's happening. So the players have got to do it. And the only one who is actually proactive in this situation, I think, is Eriksen, because he goes to help Rashford with his work.
I don't think it's the coach's fault. I think it's the players have to be proactive. I think at centre back you have to talk and lead and direct people.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you go from the goalkeeper, centre back, all these guys, you need leaders out there. Big up Johnny Evans. I think he does a good job at that. I've seen him communicate a lot. Don't go to games like you, Andy, but there's a question asking about what you can hear from the pitch level regarding communication. But I think that's the key thing. In that situation there, you can drag people just by communicating, because as a defender, you can see everything developing in front of you. So if you tell people to do their job, if they don't do it, then you need to string them up in the change room after and say, I told you to do A, B, and C. I mean, look at that Barry Fry footage. Remember there's a documentary about the Barry Fry in the change room when he was giving it out to all his players.
Don't bring up Peterborough United to me, OMONDI. It still hurts. It still hurts.
Sorry. But that's the kind of bollocking. Excuse me. And we talk about hair dry, bollocking, all that kind of. I know Ten Hag and
roasting.
Roasting. Yeah, you need to call it out. And we don't know whether that happens or not. But situations like that, where we see goals conceded based on that, that I think the players being proactive on the pitch and better communication, better respect for the leaders at the back. You need to listen to them because I play at the back, and if players don't ahead of me don't listen when I can see everything that's going on, I'm telling people home, left back, centre back, bam, and they hate it. In my team, they hate that.
Sorry, but
I seen that at United v Brighton. I seen that United v Brighton. Bruno having a rat pop at Scott McTominay and this, that, and the other.
Oh, Bruno's such a gimp. Like, I see him like ordering the midfield block around, and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's trying to stretch our block instead of like sending it forward. Like, Bruno's he's completely out of control on a football pitch. All he wants to do is run in straight lines, and that's fine, but he needs to be managed. And Omondi, you're talking about like, I know people sort of talk about centre-back pairings and things like that, but I always like to see the game as in units. And my unit is always my left back, my left centre-back, and me. And we always have to listen to the centre-back because he's the one that sees everything. Yeah, he sees who's running over your shoulder and things like that. So from what you're telling me, Delo appears to have had a shocker here because the implication is that Evans is talking to him and Delo's just gone off.
Or maybe he's not spoken to him. I'm saying I don't know if Evans is talking. That's why I wanted to ask Andy about who talks. Who can you hear? Because you can in a 60, 70,000 seat stadium, you can still hear players if they're talking that well. Like our guy from Wycombe Wanderers, our Wycombe Wanderers centre back that we like.
Yeah.
You can hear him. Yeah, even when he's mic'd up, you can hear the communication. He's a brilliant centre back because I love watching him because he's talking all the time, and putting a little banter in there as well, and scaring people. Get out my house, get out my zone. See anyone wants to, people think twice about coming near him. You know, that sort of thing. That's the kind of defender that I think you need to have. That's why you get people like Johnny Evans at 35 or 36 years old. Happy birthday! I think it's
like the people in the first few rows at the stadium. They're like a manager as well. When they can see it and the player can't, you go 2 and 2.
Yeah, man on.
Man on, for God's sake. On blindside. What? Oh, for God's sake. The crowd see more than the fucking defenders.
Yeah. Like, I completely agree. Yeah. So much is wrong with that goal. But since so much is so wrong, it's kind of hard to actually establish like liability because everyone messes up. But anyway, Pat, Bathtime, your tactical breakdown is impressive as Stephen Hawking's theory of relativity. I'm sorry, Pat, but I don't think Stephen Hawking did come up with a theory.
Can you say the next comment in Stephen Hawking's speak and spell voice, please?
No, I can't. We're in the Matrix now. We're in a simulation now. We've been doing a simulation tonight with bath time. Right.
Yeah, you've always got to be careful of asking these questions around a Monday because you'll set him off. What about Ericsson? The entire time he covered grass instead of any other player. I think, look, the thing about Ericsson is if you think back to the FA Cup final, like Casemiro crossed over Fred and missed a header, and then Lindelof didn't get the header. And Ericsson was the only one that reacted to that situation. He got quite a lot of blame, but he was the only one that reacts. And Ericsson's actually really good defensively. He's just a bit slow.
Do you mean for the second goal for City?
First goal.
Oh, the first goal, yeah.
Second goal's Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He doesn't know his distances. He doesn't get out fast enough. Yeah. Like, in fact, if you look at that second goal, Ericsson has got out faster than Wan-Bissaka. Like, I really like Ericsson, but I think that he's too much of, in like a film like Jaws, someone jumps in the water to help someone else out and gets eaten. That's basically what happens to Ericsson all the time.
Yeah.
He's always trying to help people and gets done over.
Yeah, you look at Jaws the Revenge, poor Jake, but he survived in the end. You know what I mean?
Oh God, Jaws the Revenge when in the Caribbean, is it?
Yeah, when the Caribbean. Yeah, Jaws the Revenge.
Yeah. Michael Caine. Oh, classic.
Yeah,
I like that one where they eat Samuel L. Jackson. Like Deep Blue Sea or something.
Yeah,
Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, there's a bit in it, Andy, where the shark is like in the water and this woman gets in to save someone else and she like cuts her wrist and drips the blood in. And the shark literally stops and sniffs the blood and then turns round. And it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
They're intelligent sharks.
It's instinct. It's instinct. What does a shark with the size of a V8 engine think about? The blue sea, and it was about to bust through the cage, and it was nearly through, and it got Ooh,
Yeah.
it's lunchtime. Chip is open. And it stops. It's just like you say with the football, it's instinct. Absolute instinct.
It's like Cavani.
Can I just
like
confirm
that.
something to Andrew Williams? Because when I say classic, I say some films are classically poor. And I think Jaws: The Revenge, I love Jaws, the whole franchise. I think 1 is great, 2 is not so bad, 3 is terrible, 4, The Revenge is classic. Terrible.
That's only because Michael Caine's in it. He ate me bloody plane.
Oh yeah, he landed on the
shot.
Me bloody plane.
Yeah. Oh,
I love how in tactical shows we randomly branch into Godzilla or Jaws.
You brought out the analogy, which was brilliant, by the way.
Thank you.
Getting munched by a shark, trying to save others.
All right, look. Yale here is saying, does Aaron Wan-Bissaka not speak to Varane to tell him to move and mark the score? It looks like Aaron Wan-Bissaka had full control on Wood. Personally, I don't think Chris Wood versus Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a contest you want to be seeing at a back post. But Omondi and Andy as centre-backs, what are you telling your right back in that situation?
Tuck in, cover me.
So cover you to do what?
Go with it.
Yeah,
Look,
if he goes to my blind side, I said, come in, tuck in, cover me, cover me.
Yeah,
or
come to me, but look, check your back, and check your front.
Yeah, but is
Get my
Harley
back
saying
and keep your back?
Harley is saying here that Varane should pass Wood onto Aaron Wan-Bissaka and go central to try and deal with Dominguez. Is that something that you two gents would do in a game?
I think if you're talking about the spacing between the centre backs, you should shuffle over. You should all be on a piece of string. So if the gap extends, you're all supposed to automatically act like you're on a piece of string. Just drag over. So you should drag yourselves over in that respect.
Varane was on the wrong side of him as well. That didn't help. You know what I mean? If he was behind him, he was in front of him, and he didn't run with him. He wasn't behind him. That might have been a bit better to control him.
Well, it's a blindside run, and it's like I like crossing a football a lot, and that position that Chris Wood got in, I'd bite your hand off if like my strikers were getting in that position like week in, week out. I think it's brilliant movement from him. Yeah. But Varane is a top quality defender, and I think he should do better there. But I don't think that's the least of the problems in the goal. I didn't really address it. But UK Strange is saying football isn't rocket science. Lazy, no communication. Big G, the structure of the midfield and their roles tactically is the issue. It happens all season. They haven't got a clue. And then Mr. B, Bongo football. They drink it in the jungle.
Mr. B, big up.
Got a question for you from JR with a lovely cowboy hat on. Do you remember Vidic, Van der Sar, and Rio over the crowd? Do you hear players talking during the games?
It varies where you are. I mean, maybe when you're at pitch level, you might have a better chance, but you don't see. But like you say, when you're higher up, you can see what's going to be formation and all that. What can be happening? What you can see, even when you're attacking, you can see things the players don't see because they're running with the ball, and the crowd screaming, "Play him in, and they don't do it.
Who would you sell first, Bruno or McTominay? Probably Bruno, to be honest. I think every player has got a price, and I'm not against like selling McTominay if we can get better quality.
If you're Ten Hag and United were offered 50 million in the next couple of weeks in January, do you sell him?
Who?
And
McTominay?
Get somebody in McTominay?
Yes,
I would.
Yeah, like I think so. Right, Mr. B, I know what you're up to. I'm not reading this. Like you're trying to make me look foolish. I'm not having it. But it is very funny. Actually, Monday, do you want to read it?
This is Mr. B saying, "Sharks smell the blood like the yard man smell pum pum in the dance."
Listen, right. As long as you can't smell broccoli, Mr. B.
All right. Do you want to look at the second goal, boys?
Yes, please.
Go on.
All right. Let me know. Let me know. Sorry?
It was Morgan Gibbs White. Because keep in mind, I haven't seen the whole game. So,
are we like live?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, we're on the attack here, OMONDI. Alejandro Garnacho is just about to play the ball. Talk us through this.
Okay, so United on the attack, goes past Rashford. Ericsson picks up the ball outside the box and it goes straight to Turner, who plays it wide. Ahmad squares it. Unfortunately, goes to Yates, and they're in a transition here. It's 4 against 4 almost. It goes wide to Elanga. He's got his head up. He saws Morgan Gibbs in between the lines. A lot of space and time. Evans tries to come out to him, but he bends the ball right into the back of the net. And seconds, David, like this is like Man United from the noughties, breaking, or from the 90s even, breaking it with pace. So wow, we got 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. That's a tough one. That's a tough one because the guy who scores is in acres of space. But yeah.
But you see Scott McTominay, he's committed with Delo to Elanga coming down, or to the winger, and that leaves the space. And Gibbs has got free run, basically from the centre, from his own half, running into the goal mouth.
This is what you were talking about earlier with Ahmad crossing the ball.
Yeah, Scotty and Delo are committed now. Elanga's there now. Yeah. Gibbs is coming through the middle, and you look, and he plays that pass, and you got Evans drawn to him, be drawn to him, and Scotty. So you got two here. Like Evans is coming to him, but Delo had him covered. So Scott McTominay is drawn to Delo when he sees Gibbs running, and he doesn't think about it.
All right. Let's go through this. I disagree with Andy here, but I understand the point he's making. So first of all, here, this is the first thing to pay attention to. Elanga and Wood are in something called a rest attack. Okay, so like if you want to defend, you just put like 11 men in front of the box. If you want to score, use something called a rest attack, which is where you have 2 men in between the lines. So we've got this horrible rest defense here. Okay, this structure here, Delo, Evans, Varane, and Scott are meant to protect us against transitions. And the way it would work is that Delo goes on to Elanga, and Varane goes on to Wood, and then Evans and Scott have to deal with the centre. Yeah. So in this case here, right, that's actually okay because we've got a +1, right? They've got 3, we've got 4. So that looks all right. But Yates is incredible here. I'm extremely impressed with this guy. So it comes out, Bruno loses the ball, Yates gets it. What Yates does is Yates carries the ball. And because we are now equal here, 4v4, what's the rule?
It's even number, so you just keep, you don't commit.
You have to pull back.
If somebody commits to Yates, Gibbs has still got a free run.
Yeah. So what McTominay has to do here is he's got to keep himself in between the ball and the goal, delay as much as possible, and shift it out wide into one of these 2 areas, so that this attacking unit, this 5 here, can get back into shape. Okay. So as it goes, Yates knows this, right? So Yates just carries the ball and keeps going. So this position here isn't too bad, except for Hudson-Odoi. Poor old Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'm not a huge fan of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but that is a bloody horrible position to be in as a defender. He's got 1 inside, he's got 1 outside.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. And the thing is that Evans and Varane are doing the right thing here, which is a 2-on-1. But here, Wan-Bissaka has to tell Evans to take Gibbs White because Ahmad, unfortunately, doesn't have the running power to deal with Hudson-Odoi. All right, but Wan-Bissaka, I'm going to stress this, he doesn't actually do anything particularly wrong here. As it goes out, because of this structure here, McTominay defends the channel, and I think it's the right choice because Delow is going to be committed by Elanga, right? And we're doing our absolute best not to commit. We're trying to give up space, so McTominay gets in the channel and doubles up, right? Yates is a little bastard, and what he does is he does two things. Is he vacates the central area to allow Gibbs White to basically Gibbs White might as well be Jaws in the ocean with the space he's got there.
He can smell blood.
He's also pinning Delow and McTominay because this is a 2v2, and if McTominay leaves, Delow is in a world of trouble with these two here. So McTominay's done okay here. What I will say about Delow and McTominay is their body position is disgraceful in this. Like when you go back and look at it, they're too near each other and they're too flat. And maybe that's the difference of being punished at the high level. But as it goes on, Evans and Varane have stuck on Chris Wood. Wan-Bissaka, who's between a rock and a hard place, is on Hudson-Odoi. And Gibbs White is just too far ahead of Eriksen, who cannot recover.
So can I just say something?
Yeah.
When you start the play, Eriksen and Bruno are both in the box.
Yes.
Eriksen's the one who's got like 10, 15 yards on Bruno, tracking back.
Yeah. And also, look at Garnacho. That isn't because I can't see him. That's where Garnacho is at this point.
Wow.
And then the ball gets played into zone 14. Evans, he reacts too slow and his angle's poor. Like the way he sort of like attacks Gibbs White is he leaves space for Gibbs White to use him as a screen.
Yeah.
And then Gibbs White just curls it around beautifully.
Yeah, because he committed to the right. I mean, if he'd have pushed a bit more to the left, he might have not got his shot off.
Yeah, you want to sort of bend your run in that situation so that the keeper can see all of the ball. But instead, he sort of like, it's emergency defending. So he basically sort of like makes the finish for him. Like to be fair, like Forest's goal, one of the defenders does exactly the same for Rashford. He makes a screen that you can just easily curl it around. But Omondi, I think you've hit on something that I wanted to talk about is as this is played here, Bruno is too far forward again. Alejandro Garnacho genuinely is like, he's like platoon at this point. He's just waving his arms about and he's not reacting. Ahmad is concerned with this left back here. But if Bruno is where he should be, which is on the edge of the area here, we're okay. Okay, we're okay for McTominay to commit on Yates. We're okay for Wan-Bissaka to pick up Gibbs White. So, and I'm not necessarily blaming Bruno for this. This is a structural thing because this rest defense, there's not enough men in it. And Yates realizes this because if Yates passes the ball here, we're okay. Right? If Yates knocks it here or tries or tries an out ball there, we're in 1v1s and we're fine. But Yates is really, really good and he just carries the ball because he knows McTominay can't commit. If McTominay commits, it's game over. So McTominay is he's having to give up the space. This is good defending. And these wide men are not working hard enough. Ahmad and Garnacho. And Bruno is cheating. Bruno has just attached it. Bruno's going to say Oliveira was my man. And Eriksen has got to cover all that ground to get to Yates.
Yeah, it's a bit selfish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cheating. It's cheating, Andy. It's like when I was at the university, we used to have video analysis. And after the first game, everyone cheated. They always tried to find a way of saying they were doing something like instead of what they should be doing. And Bruno's cheating here. So the ball gets played out. This is fine from Delow and McTominay in theory, but they don't do it properly enough. Like McTominay should be a little bit, not that much actually. McTominay should be about here, like, because he's the channel is well protected, but that pass there.
Let's say if Scott Evans was more closed down, and it say Gibbs can't get the shot off anyway, because they were say Scotty was drawn to Elanga with the low, and Evans was drawn to Wood with Varane.
Yeah,
and they both had their own battles, and they were drawn out. But there was another one coming. But if they'd have seen it as he was coming in, they could have closed that gap down and at least forced him maybe to sky the shot or anything. But they give him time to get
make it harder.
Yeah.
Make it hard. Well, the problem is, right, is that what's happened here is that Delo and Scott are doubling up on Elanga. That's fine. Evans has widened the channel too much here because they're both scared. Varane and Evans are scared of Wood, and Varane has been like all match. I think that Evans should be getting out here. Like, I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but that is taking responsibility of the situation. Is he can see Gibbs White. He can see him there. He can see Eriksen. He can see that Wan-Bissaka is with Hudson-Odoi. Trust Varane on Wood and get out there, but he doesn't. And the ball gets played inside. He reacts too late and he reacts at a poor angle.
Is a yard back in it?
Yeah, but the big problem for me is that this is a structural issue, Andy, because when the ball gets when it gets played out and Yates covers it, this is a problem with our system. There's not enough men back, like, to deal with this. And Wan-Bissaka, everyone here is going to look like an idiot no matter what they do, because if Wan-Bissaka gets on Gibbs White, Hudson-Odoi he's free. And look, Wood is keeping Varane central, so that ball out to Hudson-Odoi, like, Wan-Bissaka can't do it. Like, not even he can recover that position. And Gibbs White is so clever here because he's running the channel, like that's the channel between Wan-Bissaka and Varane. But he then moves in to the centre when he sees McTominay and Delo committing to the double up. Like, it's such good attacking play there. He moves in, and poor old Eriksen, he's just not quick enough to deal with it. And these useless bastards here, including Ahmad, are not working hard enough. Like,
quick question. Sorry, I just got a blackout in the house, but the electricity went. But where's Morgan Gibbs' starting position when his move breaks, when they start their move, and compared to the people that should be in midfield?
He's in his own half. He's in his own half.
Gibbs White is here on the transition.
This is the start of the move.
Yeah. So Gibbs White is basically the spare man, where Hudson-Odoi is looking after Bruno. Costa is trying to look after Eriksen. If you're criticizing Gibbs White here, Gibbs White should just be protecting this zone.
Once
here.
the ball's crossed and missed.
Okay.
All right, so he's snuck off. All right. So Gibbs White. Okay.
This is Hudson-Odoi here, and this is Gibbs White here.
So there's how many yards between Eriksen and Bruno and Gibbs White? So is that 10 yards maybe to make up?
So what here?
Yeah. And Bruno same.
Bruno the same. Bruno dummies this instead of like trying to attack it or whatever. So now, right, because of this attacking structure, everyone that's behind the ball is out of the game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they have to recover now. And all these players, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all these players are praying that McTominay does his job. And McTominay's job is to force the ball out wide and not commit. Right? McTominay does that. But apart from Eriksen, they're not working hard enough. Ahmad, cheating. Bruno, cheating. Rashford, cheating. Garnacho, crying. Terrible from the attackers. Absolutely terrible. And then like, look. we've got a 4 versus 4 here, and we've got a 2 versus 1 here. Every Premiership team is going to score, or at least should score from this position. It's I don't know. I'm not going to front run the comments, but for me, a lot of this is to do with how we set up to defend transitions, but also a lot of it is to do with Bruno, Garnacho, and unfortunately Ahmad.
So the score at this point is 1-1. It's 1-1.
1-1, yeah.
When did they score? What sort of time in the game?
82nd minute.
82nd minute. So we
scored like 76, 77. They scored like 82.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. And as Andy said, we had 10 minutes of injury time. It wasn't like, we had to go gun-ho. We could have just sat in. But
Andy also said that once we scored, equalised, he would have been happy. Just give us like 5-10 minutes to be conservative. Yeah.
Yeah, just sit in and don't.
Yeah, just contain it for a few minutes, not go gun hole like that. I know it's what we want. Like, go hit them again. But the way we've been playing, like you say, we don't seem to. Like, right, let's have 5 minutes and calm it down. Forest are still, take the sting out of it. Like you say, right, there's 5, 6, 7 minutes to go. I should have just rinsed that out for at least 10 minutes, saw the injury time and just gone, right, we're going for it.
All right, I've got to deal with a lot of comments. All right, we're going to start off with Big T. Bruno, again, the man's literally involved in every act of poor play. What you have to ask yourself, Big T, is that because of the player or the system? Delo doing his own thing. He needs to stay back in the back 4. He's leaving us short always. Yeah, UK Strengths, I'm a huge fan of Delo, and I actually thought, on first viewing, I thought he played really well in that game, but I'm having to change my mind with the evidence that I'm seeing. Is that he's overcommitting. JR is saying foul. Not a bad point. He wants McTominay to go and kick Yates. But I don't think you can. Look where MGW. Who's MGW?
Morgan Gibbs-White.
Morgan Gibbs-White is now 10 yards from Bruno. Watch where they end up. Yes, Andrew. Sorry, I'm so slow. For once, United committed lots of players forward, and we got hit on the break. Ahmad should have had the shot rather than cross to Bruno. It's an interesting idea that's the first point of failure, but Ahmad puts the ball into a dangerous area, and Bruno's not too far from getting it. He just lets it run for some reason. Leaving too much space open on right-back position. Yeah, Aaron Wan-Bissaka thinks he's prime Evra. It's a mess, the whole thing. Amateur football. Agreed. Got to block it, but it was a good finish, yeah. Bath time. Will you run this back, please? I've run it back loads of times, DK Wilson. I hope that was enough for you. See Bruno's fault. It's not just Bruno. He is a big problem here, but it's more of a system error for me. We should never have tried to build a team around Bruno. Agreed. Scotty a bit too close to Delo. Yeah, he is. McTominay's body position is very poor there, and so is Delo's. But in theory, it's not bad. Like McTominay the team actually defended that transition fairly well. Like there's no major mistakes there. It's just a lack of men. Bath time. Was Delo on a yellow card? Why didn't he just commit a foul on Elanga? I don't know. That's another good point. Is that where we need to take the foul there? Like, I don't know. Thanks, Bath time. I blocked their goals from. I can't remember them again. I'm fouling Elanga. Get back, turn and face.
Big up, JR.
Yeah, Bruno should be sprinting back. He lost the ball. It doesn't matter if he lost the ball or not. They should all be sprinting back, in my view. Bath time. Is it me, or are we the most unfit team in the league? So I've lost count of how many times we've lost this season to this goal in the last 20 minutes.
You know what? I've been thinking this in the last 10 minutes. That goal that we've just gone through. Phil Foden at the derby at Old Trafford. It was the same sort of goal in that last position. Season. This season at the derby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
only
like,
one of the derbies. I remember folding in the same.
Yeah, he goes sin past Ericsson.
That was last season, yeah.
Yeah, Delo and McTominay had to, like, switch positions. We got completely outplayed, and Bruno wasn't in zone 14. We did that goal to death, didn't we, OMONDI?
Yeah, I remember that.
But the thing is, right, is what I think Ten Hag is trying to do is I think he's trying to cheat. Where with, like, when you only have like 4 players in the rest defence, it means that you have one more for the counter press. And what we've been quite good at this season is winning the ball high up the pitch and maintaining it. And that's because Ten Hag is cheating and he's taking one person out of the transitions, like about how you protect for transitions, and putting it in the counter press. But we're not great at counter pressing. Like, if that guy who comes in is Mount, maybe we improve. But I think that Ten Hag is okay with, like, conceding goals on transitions because he thinks we'll score more than them. But it's been going on so long that you've got to shut up shop. Like, especially just after you equalise and there's still 20 minutes in the game. You can't be going out and playing like it's the last 2 minutes of a cup final all the time. You need stability in things. And JR saying, are we the most unfit team in the league? I'm not sure, but we are definitely the team that puts the most pressure physically on our players because of the spaces that we leave. Like, Ericsson should never in any system have to run that much.
I mean, I would have been happy with a draw Saturday. It wouldn't have been ideal, but it's like, right, that's fine. We're not happy, but we've not lost again. Because we were still toothless. We were still toothless in that second half.
We created a little bit more in the second half, but nothing. I mean, nothing.
Below it, the post, and Bruno fizzed one, and he saved it. But we were still toothless.
All boys down between the gap, the centre back and the centre midfield. Yeah, that's the big issue, right? Is that one thing Ten Hag does is he always has Evans or Maguire far deeper in his line than anyone else to cover that. And in football, like when we talked about the rest attack, which was Alanga and Woods in between the lines of the centre backs and McTominay, the midfielder, you need your lines to be much, much tighter so that players aren't able to do that. And this is another problem with Ten Hag's rest defence, is it's too open. It's awful having 4 instead of 5 in my view, but to have them that wide, because the fullbacks are also trying to cheat, where they're too wide from the centre-back and from McTominay because they're expecting the ball to be played into the wide areas and it gives them a head start. So when you get a little bastard like Yates who understands football and he knows that if he just carries the ball, United are going to mess it up themselves. Like, really good player, that Yates. Yes, good. DK Wilson got it.
You know, like if the manager's given them like license to have more players in attack, they should be grateful for that because with our goal scoring, we haven't scored that many goals. So they should be grateful for that, but also know, all right, we are committed an extra man. That's why we have to put the effort in to get back the ball side or goal side when they do break on us or with a transition. So I think it's great that the attacking players have an extra man there a lot of the time, but they need to really also, for the team's sake and for our position's sake and our respect and credibility's sake, get back. And this goal that you've highlighted on this tactics board again is just really just displaying a real lack of desire to get back when you're happy to make that run, Bruno, push forward and, these guys get up there. But that extra man has to come back somehow.
Well, it's two things, right, OMONDI. The first thing is he's kind of following the early Klopp template, where what Klopp used to do is he tried to win the game by half time of just completely almost like overcommitting with the counter press and scoring 3 or 4 goals and the game's out of reach, right? And he had players like Van Dijk who was able to play really high up the pitch and stuff like that. And obviously over the years, Klopp refined it a little bit. But what Ten Hag is banking on by doing this, by having all those attacking players committed, is he's banking on an incredibly effective counter press. And when you see, like, Andy, did you see the footage the other week of us doing like Piggy in the middle with in training?
Okay.
Yeah, the Champions League match, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was the Champions League by Munich. They shown some footage. God, it was dire. A piggy in the middle, man. God, there was a piggy in the middle, but the ball wasn't even with the piggy.
Yeah, well, that's called the rondo, right? And it's you and all the ones that you see like on social media and stuff. They're never the ones that they actually do in training. That's just a warm up, and no one takes it seriously because it's a piss about basically. But when you're being counter pressed, you want a rondo structure in order to move the ball quickly and get it out. And United are trying to catch out teams by them not having enough people in that rondo, so that everyone is marked and they can't get out. So in games, we're starting really fast. We're winning the ball up the pitch and we're causing them problems. And we did this to Bayern as well. Bayern had issues getting out against us. But all it takes is for one more player to come in centrally and we're absolutely done. And it started at Tottenham where they inverted a fullback inside and they put someone wider as the out. And we're getting done time and time again because Premier League managers they're incredible. Like they're as good as anything you'll play in the Champions League. They're all looking at it and they're all making adjustments. And Ten Hag and the players are not adjusting, and they're just getting even more hectic. And Andy's right. There needs to be calm. And even Kobe Mainoo didn't play well in the first half against Forest. He had 9 duels. He lost 9 of them. He had 3 dribbles and he lost the ball 3 times, right? Because Mainoo's too isolated. We can't play the 3+1. We need a 3+2. And it's the way the team is, Shaw or Delo, one of them have got to be replaced with someone who can play inside.
Yeah.
For this system to work.
I know United can't keep going gun ho. If you get a late equaliser, just see it out and see what develops. Let's calm it down. They don't do it. It's like Monday takes on huge significance in terms of the game. Not trying to win the FA Cup, but you play like this, Wigan can catch you.
Yeah, and I mean, can you imagine a more embarrassing result on losing to bloody Wigan?
You know what? It'd be done. He's done.
Where are Wigan now, Andy?
Division 1.
Okay.
Fighting relegation.
Is that Championship?
The table today.
No, one below that.
Like League One.
League One. In Bolton's league, yeah. And
do you think he puts a full strength team out? He's got to, hasn't he?
He's got to. You cannot play silly buggers with this.
Yeah.
You cannot, because you lose that, then I'm sorry, man. Much as I want to back you, you haven't got a foot to stand on, mate. No way. And you might. A lot of the support, United support now, they're just shaking their heads and like, is he the right man? I don't know, man. That you could see an knee-jerk reaction from Ineos. You know what I mean? But like I say, if this goes pear-shaped, you can't just punish the manager. You have to punish the players.
Right.
Big time. You have to punish the players.
Right. I'm with you on that one, Andy.
All right. Well, I think unless there's any comments, I think we're done. I suppose, Andy, what I should ask you is that having been through like my PowerPoint presentation, my super special effects, looking at the goals now, has anything changed for you on how you see them?
Yeah, it's what I've seen is it's happening too many times. I've seen Jay Motte from my boss at the paddock. He sent a tweet out today. It's happening too many times. It's like a jigsaw. It just sees it. It slots into place, and they let it happen. It's like leading a horse to a river. You know what I mean? But you can't make it drink the water. They don't learn. They bring this on themselves. They tease, and they get punished. You know what I mean? They lead them on.
I think you remember Kurt Angle, the WWF wrestler,
no
gold medalist. He had no, but it's true.
It's true.
It's damn true. And he had a saying, "The 3 eyes." That's what he lived by, because he obviously was a gold medalist in the Olympics. And if there was integrity, intensity, and intelligence. And these are the things that are really important. Obviously, it's a single sport that he does there, but as a team, these are things that we're missing there. Integrity, we need to get back and work hard. Intelligence to cover the gaps that are being created there, and intensity.
Maybe they need to put that on the billboard at Carrington.
It's true.
Seriously, you're not far wrong.
I'll
put it in the dressing room at Old Trafford.
It's true. It's damn true.
For me, I think like my takeaway on all of these is that the second goal in particular, it's very, very difficult to defend that goal because of the setup of the team. And I put that on the manager. No one makes an obvious mistake. The first goal, once again, I think we've got too many players too far forward. And I don't know if that's the manager's fault. But what I want to see is that Ten Hag came out and said that the first goal was miscommunication and was nothing to do with the midfield. And he said that I can't remember what he said about the second one. He said the first one was miscommunication. Second one was nothing to do with the midfield. Right. I don't know if he believes that to be true or not, but what he has to do is he's got to drop the players that he thinks that are responsible for it. So if he thinks it's Bruno, drop him. If he thinks it's McTominay, doesn't play again. If he thinks it's Dalot, doesn't play again. Because otherwise, I think it's a system issue. And that's on him. I don't think that there's enough men that he's not respecting teams enough, or he's overestimating the athletic capabilities of Ahmad and Bruno. Is he going to
overestimate Wigan on Monday? Is he going to play like this? They could play like they did against Forest against Wigan on Monday. Believe me, that Man United are more than capable of playing the way they did on Saturday and coming a cropper.
So in that midfield, Andy, who would you like Kobe, Eriksen, and Bruno start?
Yeah, I would. I mean, you saw your strongest midfield on Boxing Day, and it worked. Eriksen, Kobe Mainoo, they ran that midfield that first half. Even when we went 2 goals down, we played well. They controlled that midfield. All right, it wasn't very good the first half against Forest, but yeah, I would be playing Kobe. Definitely.
Do you think that Wigan are going to play like Villa and like that high line, no pressure on the ball?
You're going to need your strongest side. You're going to need that sort of tempo against Villa. And if you get into a position where you're winning, then you can ring some changes. But this is Wigan. Wigan have got nothing to lose at all. This is a giant killing. You remember they done Man City a few years ago in a quarter final in 2018.
The biggest game of like every Wigan player's career so far.
I think it will. I think you're gonna have the JD or the JJB, JDW, whatever it's called. You're gonna have a full house. You're gonna have 25,000, and Man United's got good memories there with winning titles and that. We also lost there when City went on to win the league. But never underestimate your opponent. There's going to be some giant killings this weekend. Seriously. I mean, some rivals, Arsenal v Liverpool, they're going to whoever loses that has got a clear run at the league title. I was talking to my friend, he's a Liverpool fan, where I work. He would happily sacrifice the FA Cup. And they've won tonight as well. They got a clear run at the league. And he wants to win the League Cup and the Europa League. He's not interested in the FA Cup. He wants the Premier.
Yeah.
And you say
Arsenal will be the same though, isn't it? They'll be Champions League and League.
Well, whatever, vice versa as well. So yeah, big guns could come a cropper this weekend. I mean, I would love Huddersfield Town to do Man City at the Etihad. Then like 24 hours later, we're laughing and you're like, oh God, we've just been done. So you keep your fingers crossed, you keep quiet, and you just smile at the results if they happen.
Can I just say that I've really enjoyed the show. Sorry about the cut off earlier. The whole block went down. But I love these shows. And it gives me more insight into what's really going on.
Yeah, this is sort of cleared my head up. Yeah.
Do you want to come on the next one, Andy?
Pardon?
Do you want to come on the next one?
I will. I'll come on the next one if we've beaten Wigan.
You know something? It's like it's really hard because obviously we love football and we're always talking football, social media, at work, friends, all that kind of thing. So sometimes to come away from this and actually know where we're going wrong, rather than sort of arguing with people and getting into fights when you're lost. But I'm sure everyone's a bit wiser today of how we concede the goals and why we conceded the goals, and we can push. JR saying here he loves the eye test. Big up, man. And Zoe saying here it's been a great show from everyone. Big up, and Pat as well. Pat was part of the white eye test as well. He used to be our third man in there, but our third eye, as you say, and
Third man wrong.
Yeah, third man, of course. But bath time, I just think you should take a bow, bruv, for the time and
That's brilliant.
into the tactics board and the animation and everything else, and the explanation as well. So
Back in the 90s, it was.
I would say big up bath time. What a great way to start the new year. Tactical masterclass.
All right.
No, you're being humble. I know you can blush behind that screen, but you're being humble. But honestly, it's top drawer, and I appreciate that.
Look, only kids and clowns need applause. Like we do this because we love
take
this.
the compliment and shut up.
Only Sky Sports breakdown on a Monday night when we've got bath time. Telling you.
Yeah, tactics truck.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. That's great. If anyone wants the animations, you can message me and I'll send them to you. And as always, there are some people.
Send them to Sen Hack and bloody. You know what I mean? Just send them to Carrington. Open email. I'll give you the bloody email.
There you go. These are great shows, says DK Wilson. Learn so much. Next time I have questions to ask. Thanks, bath time. So everyone, big up, man. Thank you, bath time. And
all right. Enough of this. Thank you very much for everyone watching. Have a happy new year. We'll be back tomorrow. And as always, thank you so much to Andy and to OMONDI. And thank you for spending your time with us. So it's good night from everyone.
Happy New Year, guys.
Good night.